Man City take care of business against Gladbach. Did you ever doubt Pep Guardiola? Real Madrid show why they are the most successful club in Champions League history after their win over Atalanta. We have Jimmy Conrad to recap Tuesday Champions League action. Qué Golazo begins right now. Hey everybody, Qué Golazo Tuesday Champions League recap. Jimmy Conrad in the house. Jimmy C, how are you, brother?
What's up? I'm good. I'm excited to see that there were no upsets, that the teams that we expected to win actually won.
Yep, I think that's the theme of the day, everybody. Sometimes it's as easy as that. The teams that really you thought were going to do it, did it. Just experience, talent overall. And let's begin with Manchester City, the Goliath that is Manchester City, the unstoppable force that is Manchester City. And Marco Rose already has his bags packed for Borussia Dortmund as Monchengladbach lose 2-0, 4-0 in aggregate. Man City looked good. There were hints, Jimmy, of Gladbach doing some things, but in the end, Man City won 2-0 and 4-0 in aggregate.
Yeah, I just want to apologize to everybody. I had advised you from a wagering perspective to consider there being a draw in the first half and City winning the second half, and I totally effed that up. It should have been the opposite. City were going to go for the jugular early, and then they were going to kick it and relax, and that's essentially what they did, which is why I learned from that. Even before that game happened, I learned from it, and I told you guys for the Bayern game tomorrow to do that. They're going to score early, then they're going to sit back and chill because they don't need those extra goals. Anyway, that said, when I watch this City game versus Borussia Monchengladbach, I see City, the guys wearing sky blue, light blue, are a bunch of grown-ass men, okay? And then I look at Borussia Monchengladbach, and I see a bunch of schoolboys. And that pretty much sums it all up. Yes, Monchengladbach had enough here to maybe get a goal. They created enough opportunities, got enough of a look from a very stout defensive team in Man City to get something and to test Ederson a little bit. Ederson did have to make a couple saves and was a little bit more busy, definitely, than he was in the first leg. But overall, when I look at the tactics, when I look at players that can step up and play out of pressure and hold the ball under pressure, and that's the whole thing. Given my playing experience, I remember this so clearly. I got to play against Real Madrid in the Bernabeu. I know that's a crazy flex. I'm just going to leave it as such. But we were down a few goals, so the confidence obviously is in Madrid's favor. I tried to be cute, right? I tried to be casual. Those guys have seen that every single day for 2 hours a day or more. They know what that looks like. They play at a speed that is just another level. So you have this world-class team, and then I look at Borussia Monchengladbach, who I tried to buy into their Kool-Aid. I'm going off on a rant here, Luis. I tried to drink their Kool-Aid a little bit at the beginning of the season because they were beating Bayern and Borussia Dortmund and good results against Inter Milan and Real Madrid. Dude, they're nowhere near where they need to be. City are the standard or where everybody should be looking towards to get. It's unbelievable how good those guys are, and they proved it once again. And on both sides of the ball, ridiculous. Fair play to them. They're definitely the favorites to win this competition.
Above Bayern Munich?
Yes, because defensively, they're better than Bayern Munich right now.
Yep. Interesting. I might agree. I go back and forth between Bayern.
Okay. I saw you on TV today going back and forth on Atalanta, Real Madrid. Atalanta, Real Madrid. And you ended up making the wrong decision, and you went with Atalanta.
I know. I'm a Gemini. I can't help it. I'm just all over the place. I like to give people what they want. I like to reflect what the people are like, because I'm sure a lot of us at home are also doing the same thing. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. But hey, listen, here's the thing. Let's go back to Man City Gladbach for a second. You made some key points here. One, Gladbach is exactly what it was, just a hipster fad. All right. They're good. They're not that good. And to be honest, I'm sorry, everybody, but Jimmy and I have been talking about this forever in this podcast. I'm going to bring it up again. Marco Rose announcing his VBB is just so dumb, because I don't care how professional you are. What is that going to do to the overall sense of the squad? I'm not saying that they would have been City, but since that announcement, they haven't looked good at all anywhere. So that's a problem. And now you're facing Manchester City, who looked tremendous today. I mean, it doesn't matter who's on the pitch. They're going to do the business. Phil Foden was just outstanding. Yeah. Outstanding. Absolutely amazing. That run and delivery and that pass to Gundogan, you think he's going to give it and provide a left-sided pass, but actually it's a blind through ball to Gundogan. The Kevin De Bruyne smash, they're just ridiculous.
So I will say
ridiculous.
Because they can beat you in so many different ways, Luis.
Yeah.
what I wanted to add, just to concur with your sentiments, was they can beat you in so many different ways. But also, if you guys watch this game, the first 10 minutes, I was really happy with, let me start with Marco Rosa's starting lineup. I wanted Briel and Bolo out there. I wanted Marcus Thuram out there. I was hoping Alassane Playa would be out there as well. Just put all your best players on the field and go, hey guys, go make it work. I mean, obviously you want to have some tactical, how you're going to move or whatever, but these are my most talented guys. Let's go make it work. He left Playa on the bench. Okay. But I like that Mbolo and Thuram came out there. I thought the pressure was actually very good. In the first 10 minutes, they were pretty good. And then they gave up an absolute cracking goal to Kevin De Bruyne on his weak foot. I don't know if he's got a weak foot, but let's just pretend his left foot's his weak foot, who cracks into the top corner. And for a team that's so vulnerable and so, on the edge of they don't have confidence anymore, of belief, that will just kill your spirit. And that killed their spirit. And that was it. But that first 10 minutes, I was like, all right, this BM team might have a chance to get in there, but they just didn't have enough. I was hoping they'd get a goal. I thought they would get one. I thought they'd show something. They did, like I said, they did create enough opportunities to get a goal, but didn't have the composure. It gets me back to my original point, Luis. They just don't have enough composure. Like one guy plays out of pressure for BM against Man City, right? Then the next guy's under pressure. He's got to make the right pass. Not when I watch this game, all I see is Borussia Monchengladbach actually make one good pass forward that unlocks a little bit, but then the next guy plays safe. And when the next guy plays safe, it just attracts more pressure from Man City, who are so good. They're like, oh, we've seen this before. We know what's going to happen here. Those first two passes have to be forward. They have to bypass lines. They have to break lines. They have to find where the numerical advantages are quickly. That's the only way you can beat the City team. And if you can't do that, you're absolutely dead, because they do it for 90 minutes. Because they keep the ball so much, they have the energy to keep the pressure up throughout the whole game. It's really impressive, and I can't say enough about it, especially because we're really talking about this Man City team at the beginning of the season, right? We're like, oh yeah, Ruben Diaz, he'll be all right. And, Joao Cancelo wasn't great last season. We'll see. These guys are all playing at the top of their game. And I said this on TV, and I'll say it to you now. Where does Man City peak? Where's the peak for these guys? Have they hit it yet? I don't know, man. They've won 24 out of the last 25 or 25 out of 26. It's one, not just got a draw. They've won 25 out of the last 26. What? That is ridiculous. I don't care where you play in any league around the world. Those are ridiculous stats.
Yeah, it's 24 from 25, but it doesn't matter.
It will be 25 out of 26.
Yeah, exactly. Since the 1-1 draw with West Brom on December 15th, City's 24 wins are at least 7 more than any other side has managed in all competitions in the top 5 European leagues. They are a machine. And you mentioned what you talked about on the show about where do they peak. And I believe I replied that the good thing is that when you have somebody like Pep Guardiola, he doesn't care. He just wants to keep going. He's never happy. He's never, ever happy. And that's just what they are. And Man City is an absolute machine. And good night, Borussia Monchengladbach. So, hey, I got an idea here. We sent a tweet here asking, send questions. So let's answer one right now, because Man City is a Premier League team. This is a Premier League question.
Do it.
Jacob Sane. I'm sorry, Sane. Let's go with Sane, Jacob. Let's go with Jacob. Which EPL club, which Premier League club is trending in the right direction in the next few years? Or what mid-tier team do you like for a top 4 finish in the near future? Well, you know my answer. You
go first, because you've seen this question, so you had some time to let it marinate in your brain. I haven't had that luxury. So you go first, Luis.
Yeah, well, Jacob, this is a good question. I think there's a few actually that you can probably talk about. I mean, at the very beginning of the season, I gave my Estás Loco predictions, like predictions that are crazy, but have a sense of hope in it. One of them, I talked about Everton, actually, thinking that Carlo Ancelotti is that much of a good manager that he can bring in a squad that can hopefully be a top 4 contender. And when you look at the season now, that's not crazy to think. They could maybe do Champions League, maybe not this season, but they're going on the up. The other one that I'm not thinking Champions League, but I'm thinking obviously Europa, hopefully, is Aston Villa. Honestly, I'm removing my bias aside. I think Dean Smith is one of the best managers in the game, and he's done tremendous things. And we have an amazing sporting director in Johan Lange, who basically is going to do a lot of work this summer. So watch out for Villa next season, I think. So those would be my 2. Obviously, you got your Leicester City, etc., but I wanted to focus on those specifically. What about you, Jimmy?
No, I think Everton's a nice choice. James Rodriguez, he's only going to get more comfortable in the Premier League in subsequent seasons. He's 29 right now. When I look at their team, who their core players are, the ones that are emerging as the most responsible and standing up and taking accountability for being out there. Dominic Calvert-Lewin is 24.
He's
Lucas
great.
Digne is 27, or Charleston's 23. Yerry Mina and Michael Keane are 20, 28, and 26 respectively. That's where, though, it gets a little bit thin. Jordan Pickford, I feel like they could probably go out and get a better goalkeeper, if I'm being completely honest. Ben Godfrey's been very good as well in the back. He's only 23. Tom Davies still emerging. Good. 22. Yeah, they got a lot of good young core players. Andre Gomez is only 27. But when I look at the outside back position, Seamus Coleman's 32. Pickford, I think they can upgrade there in the back. Can they bring Moise Kean back from PSG? What's the deal? I don't even know what
they want to.
If they can bring Moise Kean back, he's only 21.
They're listening. PSG want to keep him, but Everton will have to listen. If I were Everton, I would just let PSG have him and see how much you can get for him. But obviously, him returning to Everton would be amazing.
It would be. And then Alon's only 30, right? So you got a couple good seasons. Gylfi Sigurdsson's 31. So those guys could eventually be bench players if you want to go with some of your younger options. A couple more signings with Carlo Ancelotti at the helm. Yeah, I think Everton is a team that people should look at for sure. Leicester, want to give a shout out to Brendan Rodgers. I think he's done great with them and continues to keep them in a conversation, even when you're like, even when Jamie Vardy's only scored 1 goal since Christmas Eve, they're still in there with a fighting chance to get top 4, which is very cool to see. Everybody else, I don't know. Aston Villa, of course, I think should be in the conversation with very similar storylines or narratives to Everton. West Ham, I think, probably fought their way into this one. Never on my radar, and I'm still kind of, is this going to be like a Sheffield United kind of thing where they are really great one season and then drop off once they get into Europe or something like that? We'll see. But, and I think Manchester United needs to be considered in terms of kind of really finding their way and starting to forge an identity that they can build off of and add players to, which they didn't have for a couple seasons. So there are a couple options there, but Chelsea, right? When Chelsea figures out how to score with their talent, it's going to look very similar to Man City because they're so good defensively right now. Once they figure out how to attack with real purpose, they could be really scary too. Can I just name all the teams?
No, I think you gave a good answer. And Jacob, you cannot complain. We just gave you like a full rounded answer. All right. We're going to take a break, everybody. When we come back, we'll talk Real Madrid against bye-bye Atalanta. Tuesday, Champions League recap. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Champions League Tuesday recap, round of 16, second leg here with Jimmy Conrad. Jimmy, Real Madrid did the business. The most successful club in Champions League history showed it today as they said, you know what? Enough of this, Atalanta that. Let's take care of business. And they did that. They beat Atalanta. It, of course, began with a terrible goal. But, at the end of the day, the right team won, don't you think?
100%. What I think my biggest takeaway is that class is permanent. And another cliche I can use is that winning is an attitude. It's like those posters we had up on the wall when we were kids.
Yeah.
Class is permanent. Winning is an attitude. And when I think about the core players,
sweet home.
Yeah, all that stuff. It's 9 games unbeaten at home now for Real Madrid. I said the Karim Benzema. I told you guys to bet him scoring with his right foot. He did that today. Thank you, Luka Modric, for setting him up with the easy one. I thought Benzema has been fantastic in recent weeks. Anytime he's in the team, they're better. Sergio Ramos is a winner. The guy wins. Whether you think you love him or hate him because he dabbles in the dark arts of defending, whatever. The guy knows how to win. Then you add Luka Modric, who's a Ballon d'Or winner, by the way, so we've got to put some respect on his name, and Toni Kroos, a World Cup winner in the middle of midfield. Those guys sat in today almost in a double pivot to make up for the fact that Casemiro was going to be gone. And Fede Valverde kind of went out wide. And then when they shifted a little bit, Valverde came inside and Vasquez started to bomb forward a little bit. The game shifted. And I thought there was some in-game tactics that Zidane pulled off, or maybe the players did it on their own. I mean, honestly, Sergio Ramos could probably coach the team from the fields, and as the captain, just a good professional performance. They ended up giving up a late goal to Luis Muriel, who scored on a good free kick, but wasn't enough for Atalanta, who my issue is very similar to Marco Rosa. Marco Rosa in the first leg for Borussia Monchengladbach left off some of his best players, and I don't understand why. And then when I see Gasperini, the manager of Atalanta, leave off Duvan Zapata and Josip Ilicic, I just don't understand it. Sure, he could explain to us, and I understand that he probably has it all laid out, and he's working with his staff, and I'm sure there are plenty of reasons as to why the people he started were a better fit to go up against this Madrid team. But from on the outside looking in, you have to go for it at some point, and why wait until you get slapped around or until you're down before that happens? I just have some question marks, and I just thought that the teams that had the experience that know how to win these games were the ones that won today, and the ones that didn't and that were a little naive and a little bit short-sighted and maybe not tough enough or mean enough to make it happen, those are the ones that lost. And to your point, right off the top, the better team won today, and the better team was going through.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, there's something to be said about the narrative of this game. Okay, like Sportiello, the Atalanta goalkeeper, a ridiculously bad mistake. You do not gift goals to Real Madrid in the Champions League. Modric grabs it, gives it to Benzema, etc. But it doesn't matter. Real Madrid knew what to do. And I just have to reiterate what you just said about Sergio Ramos. Listen, we talk about Lionel Messi, of course, the things that he has done, Cristiano Ronaldo for United, Real Madrid, now Juventus. Sergio Ramos, I can't emphasize how important he is for Real Madrid. Forget about the goals, set pieces, defending. His mere presence just exudes confidence. And you can just see the entire Real Madrid side just be right there with him. Sergio Ramos enters the pitch and it's like, we are winning this. There is no draw. There is no extra time. We are taking this, and you can sense it. And it's amazing to me. Of course, Karim Benzema is Karim Benzema. You give him an inch, he'll take a mile. But this is Real Madrid, the most successful team in the Champions League. And they showed it today. I thought Vinicius Jr. was also really, really good. And Asensio had a point to prove when he came on as well. They were just clicking. And that first goal set the narrative. But essentially, the better team won, as you said.
Yes, they did. I want to echo your sentiments about Vinicius Jr., who was fantastic today. If that kid can figure out how to score, he is going to be world-class. Everything about his game otherwise is world-class, but his finishing is god-awful. I mean, we might as well be out there in those positions, Luis, missing sitters or putting them right at the goalkeeper. There's something, and it's clear it's a mental block. He has it in his bag. He's got that tool in his tool belt. It's just he doesn't know how to use it yet. He doesn't know how to have that composure, that split second of just taking a breath while you're in this situation after you've dribbled 60 yards and through 10 people, to then have the quality and the composure to just pick your spot. And that's something that actually I'm going to throw Ole Gunnar back in the mix. Ole Gunnar has brought that, I thought, to Man United. Rashford are scoring a little bit more of those goals, a little bit more composure. Martial, Greenwood, you can see it, right? He's added a little bit of that composure and helped them, right? He's a player whisperer in some ways. So maybe Vinicius Jr. can go on loan to learn from Ole Gunnar for 6 months to a year and then come back to Real Madrid. I bet you he'd be a lot better. That said, when he plays like he did today, it's going to be very hard for teams to then double down on Karim Benzema up top, right? When you have a misfiring Vinicius Jr. or Rodrigo or Vasquez or whoever's out on the wings, or Eden Hazard, if he ever decides to get healthy, you can, you're like, okay, well, these guys just aren't playing very well when they put on the Madrid shirt for whatever reason. And that allows us to put more defensive attention to Karim Benzema. Yeah. But when these guys play like this too, it just opens up more space, and it's pretty incredible to see. I will say what is absolutely crappy for Vinicius Jr. is he played very, very well today. Missed a couple glorious opportunities. Did draw the penalty that Sergio Ramos scored. But then his replacement, the guy he's competing with for his position, Asensio, comes on as a sub with, as you said, with a point to prove, and scores on his first touch. Vinicius is probably like, oh man, I finally put a game together where I can be the automatic starter for the next game. And then Asensio comes on within 1 minute and scores. You're like, I mean, he must be pissed, Vinicius. Like, what else could I do? So it's a funny little battle between those two players. But to your point that you said earlier, it's just going to elevate everybody's game. And I guess I'm referencing Sergio Ramos. When you have certain players step on the field, and when you have that type of competition, like we said with City too, you always have somebody that's going to push you to get better. So it's not a bad thing, but I do feel a little bad for Vinicius.
Yeah. I mean, listen, like Marco Asensio is just, he's kind of like that sometimes, all or nothing. And if you give him 20 minutes in a game, he's going to take advantage. I feel like Vinicius Jr., by the way, I have a soft spot for Vinicius Jr. He was my very first piece I wrote for Sports Illustrated, which essentially brought me to CBS Sports. So like I always think about Vinicius as part of my career as well. But Vinicius, you mentioned his finishing, and I agree completely. But sometimes I feel he just needs to simplify himself. There's one of my favorite players ever like for me, any country, any club is Denilson. And Denilson was exactly like that. He knew what he was good at and he knew he wasn't good at. And he didn't score many goals, but my God, he created them. And I feel like sometimes Vinicius Jr. should just be like, I know what I can do well. I don't need to completely overdo it. And when he just simplifies his game, like you said, he takes so much pressure off Benzema and it just becomes an unstoppable Real Madrid, which is kind of what you saw today.
I mean, that's why they saw the same thing when he was younger. That he has something. He has something that you can't teach, right? There's a feel for it, is this drive and ambition and this flair that we're all attracted to with Vinicius. And then you see him finish and you're like, oh, okay. And also on top of that, it is an evolution of his decision-making, which is to your point. When do I dribble and go at people 1v1? Or if I can see that there's a seam for me to attack, or when I hold up the ball, when is my team actually ready for me to do something like that? So that if I do lose the ball, we can immediately win it back again, right? And these are these little things that I think you learn as you get older. And if you don't, then you're going to play like João Baptista, right? Another Brazilian who kind of had these similar traits, but never really hit that upper echelon because I just feel like he lacked consistency in his decision-making, which ultimately when you're playing for a big club, if you're pissing off the core players because you're not making the right decisions at the right time, they're not going to want you in the team anymore. Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting to see, by the way, who these teams, Real Madrid, Man City, get in the quarterfinals.
I can't wait. The draw on Friday is going to be magical.
And by the way, there's a Qué Golazo podcast that day coming out to recap it all and talk about it, including the Europa League as well. Myself and Jimmy in that. All right, that's our episode. That's our recap. Jimmy Conrad, any final thoughts before we say goodbye?
No, but I did want to say thank you for listening. As always, that's no, but yes, I guess. Thank you for listening as always. Thank you for watching on YouTube. And we look forward to seeing you tomorrow for, I don't know how many, we're probably putting out 10 episodes tomorrow. So I can't wait for all of them.
Yeah, exactly. All of them will come at some time.
It's going to be great. It's the best.
Because the Wednesday preview is already out. But you'll get the recap and then weekend previews. So much content. I love it. I love it. I love it. Jimmy Conrad, thank you so much, brother.
Thanks, Luis. Always a pleasure.
Hey, everybody. I want to thank Jimmy Conrad for joining me today. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Qué Golazo Pod. Thank you so much for your questions. Keep them coming. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, youtube.com/Qué Golazo. Remember March Madness. CBSSports.com/Golazo brackets. We have plenty more content, including Champions League preview and our recap coming later tomorrow as we recap the end of round of 16. We also have Europa League content, weekend preview, and so much more. Thank you for listening and watching. Have a great, great day.